You know, Americans have that coronavirus stimulus check coming in, and if you can believe it, I've got some complicated thoughts about that, and oh, interesting seeing you guys here. But regardless, for a lot of us, we're getting back to work, paychecks are coming in. This could be a $600 boon that goes right into your savings account, your investment account, or maybe, just maybe, into the coffers of Sony and Microsoft because they have some new systems out. I, like a lot of others, have been looking up deciding is the Xbox Series X or the PlayStation 5 right for me, and what I have largely determined pulling up some reviews is that, no, not at all. It is just not time yet for a brand new console generation. I've got here the Kotaku, the Xbox Series X review, their official review they put out, and the first thing they have to say is this does not feel like the kind of machine we usually get at the start of a new generation. Instead, it feels like yet another version of Microsoft's last console, the Xbox One, which already, maybe, had too many versions. Sure, it's got a striking new look, blazing fast loading times, an extra button on the controller. What are you going to do with that? You're playing Xbox One games. For many reasons, it is the very best Xbox One, but does that really matter if you already have the Xbox One? And these are questions you, as an informed gamer, have to ask before you go and drop half a grand on the brand new console to play the games that you could already play on your own console. It's the most box-like console Microsoft's ever produced. If you want to read the PlayStation 5 review, they might even get weird and political on you. It is time of coronavirus, after all. But what does the Xbox Series X really do different? And the answer, at least for right now, seems to be not a lot. One of these screenshots is from the Xbox One. One of these screenshots is from the Xbox Series X. I'll let you figure out which it is because they look exactly the fucking same to me. Regardless, one thing I do like, one thing I'll say that's pretty cool, is that the Xbox Series X is backwards compatible with, everything. Xbox 360 games, original Xbox, Xbox One. That is great design theory. I want to give Microsoft props for that. PlayStation 5, you know what? It's a bad time to be a Sony fan right now. Because PlayStation 5 just says, fuck all your old shit, you're not going to play that anyway. The only games for the Xbox Series X that don't work are the ones for the Kinect, which they write is Microsoft's failed spy camera accessory. I want you guys to remember back when the One was coming out, how much they pushed Kinect. They wanted this thing in everyone's living room to watch you all the time, which, by the way, was kind of creepy. They had these games coming out. I'm pretty sure the only actually legit game for the Kinect was the Gunstringer, which even then, it wasn't that fantastic. It was just a novel idea at the time. The Kinect was such a massive, ridiculous failure. I'm pretty sure Microsoft just wants to erase it from their collective history. Now, the specs are there, and if you're the kind of girl who's turned on by the size of your man's wallet, it will be reaching that 60 frames per second. You got the 4K resolution, additional graphics processing power. That's all well and good, but what does that actually mean for the games you play? Someone's going to tell me that I'm wrong here, but I'm the kind of gamer, you tell me something's 30 frames per second, 60 frames per second, I don't see the fucking difference. The game just runs, and I play it. Now you can see what it drops to, I don't know, 8, 10 frames per second, you got some lag going on, but 30 FPS is absolutely fine. I can't even fathom the idea of playing a game in 120 frames per second at lower resolutions. What does that look like? Can your eyes actually perceive that? Now, you can wax poetic about the specs in there all day, and there's no buts about it. Your games will play better on the Xbox Series X compared to the Xbox One. It's just a fact, and that's awesome. If you are a first-time buyer ever, you don't already have an Xbox One at all, the Series X is probably the way you want to go. But, if you're like me, you play some video games. Yes, sir? Come on up. Oh, if you're like me, and you play video games in general already, I bought an Xbox One for the first time last year. It works great, it's still amazing, it's a year old, and it plays and downloads all of my games just fine. I begin to wonder, especially because we don't have a big Xbox Series X launch game, what my personal incentive to upgrade at this point is. And it feels a lot of ways like the phone industry. You got the iPhone X, the iPhone, whatever, I don't know, I'm a man, I don't use Apple products. You got the new iPhone that comes out every other year, and you're expected to spend all this money to upgrade, but what do you really get out of it? Aside from that sort of forced obsolescence of the old version. Maybe I'm an old school gamer. Maybe I come from a different sort of gaming generation. But to me, the reason we play on console is because of the games, the ease of use and the games. Otherwise, you might as well just be a PC gamer. And so it seems in a lot of ways now we are sort of hedging and bridging that gap between the PC gamers and the console gamers. And it's not a Debbie Downer video necessarily. I think the Xbox Series X is super cool, but I have some big questions. One of which is, why do I need to upgrade right now? And the other is, if in a year or two they're going to do this again, they're going to launch the Series X Extreme version or the Series Triple X version, you know, where you unlock the little Pornhub banner at the top or something. Why would I not just go ahead and get that one and upgrade right then? Because I did pull up this list from Tech Radar of the best Xbox Series X games, the ones you have to play. And let me tell you, it didn't leave me very optimistic. On here, you've got Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which, son of a gun, is already available on the Xbox One. I can play that on my console right now. You've got Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. I have that on my console right now. Forza Horizon 4. I don't need to tell you. Gears of War 5. That's cool. People still play Gears of War games. News to me. Ori and the Will of the Wisps. Get the Xbox Series X for the hottest. Okay. Look, I'm not going to talk shit. The Ori games are super cool, but you don't need the Xbox Series X to play it. Planet Coaster. Wasn't Sea of Thieves basically an Xbox One launch title already? What? Okay. Tetris Effect, The Tourist, and Yakuza. Look, I've got Yakuza Like a Dragon. Shout out to that motherfucker. That is absolutely Game of the Year 2020. It was robbed at the Game Awards by FF7 Remastered. Point being, get Yakuza Like a Dragon, but you can play Yakuza Like a Dragon on your current consoles. There is not, as far as I can tell, or as far as reading this list, a single Xbox Series X exclusive game that you have to get that you can't play anywhere else. They're Xbox Series X enhanced, sure, but you can still play them on your current model Xbox One, which then begs the question for me, why be in a hurry to upgrade? And there's more to it, definitely, than just being a downer about being forced to, or essentially not being forced to, upgrade to the new level of tech. The AAA game industry, in a lot of ways, is in shambles. I don't like the fact, and I've said this before, I will say it again, gamers more than any other class of purchaser like being fucked by these companies. Gamers love spending their money for diminishing returns and shit they will never get back. Because when a brand new game comes out, the new hotness happens, it's filled with the microtransactions, the season passes, the things they don't want to use, the loot box mechanics. They don't just close their wallets up and say never again until you stop this shit, we're not going to buy it. They buy it anyway and then go complain about it. I've never really seen an industry with so much just the bitching, but at the same time being unable to stop themselves. It's like an addiction. I don't want to say gaming is an addiction, but maybe on some level, being part of the gaming zeitgeist kind of is. And these games journalists, I can't speak for every single one of them, but a lot of them are really slimy fucks. A lot of them really, they stand behind that too, and they really want to get you hype about not just the new games, but the wokeness in the new games. So Kotaku says the bottom line on the Xbox Series X, it's not a traditional next-gen system. It challenges the idea of console generations as we know them. That's all well and good. They are continuing the model of the Xbox One rather than replacing it, but at the same time, they are kind of sort of the next generation. They are competing with the PlayStation 5, and they are replacing it. Wanna tell a little horror story? A little horror story real quick about a system that tried to do that, called the Wii U. Now, some of you guys might not be old enough to remember the disaster that was the Wii U, but this was Nintendo's brand new console. The Wii, the Nintendo Wii, was one of the most successful video game systems of all time, bar none. The Wii sold like hotcakes, and Nintendo needed to make a sequel to that. Got the Wii 2, right? They didn't call it the Wii 2. They didn't call it the Super Wii, the Wii 64. They called it the Wii U, which was A, a terrible name, and B, whoever came up with this terrible fucking name was not able to get the marketing team or the marketing power behind it because they just shoved this thing out and it didn't really explain what it was or what it was going to do for gamers. Had a brand new controller. Pretty cool brand new controller. Couldn't do shit with it. And because they did not market it properly, get out the door properly, the system was a failure. It faltered. It was a failure. It fell apart. And yeah, now we see any of the relevant Wii U games are being remade for the Switch, which thank God they got their shit together, because that's doing a lot better. I do not overall think the Xbox Series X is going to have this problem. I don't think the Xbox Series X is going to be a failure in the way that the Wii U was, but I do see a lot of the same energy in the Xbox Series X that I do from the Wii U. Obviously, if you want one right now, it's super, super hard to find. I believe in a lot of ways that's by design. These companies want that sort of, you know, it's the FOMO, the fear of missing out. They want you to feel like you can't find the console at first, so when you finally do, you gotta jump on that shit. Although I guarantee you, in a year and a half, about the time you're ready to upgrade anyway, it's going to be super easy to find, and they're already going to be announcing the Xbox Series Extreme, you know? That's going to happen. Bottom line, as far as I'm concerned, Xbox Series X is cool. Yeah, this is a bigger computer, a bigger model. It is upgrading your rig. It is getting the new iPhone of video game systems. But do you really need to yet? Is the question you've got to ask. Is it time to just give these developers your money for not quite the new console generation, but just the special edition version of what you've already got? Well, I guess you guys are going to be the judge. And speaking of PlayStation, I haven't mentioned the PlayStation 5 very much in this video, and there's a reason for that. A report just came out. This is in PlayStationLifestyle.net. PlayStation brand is in decisive decline in Japan. This research firm is deeply concerned. If you are even a tertiary fan of video games, or you're a giant fucking weeb, then you know you've got some contention with a lot of the choices Sony has made lately. They moved their headquarters to America, to California. They've been doing a lot of interesting censorship with Japanese games coming out, which some gamers have noted is not in line with the level of censorship or lack thereof they're putting on the American games coming out. Shout out to the awkward sex scenes in The Last of Us Part 2. And despite flying off the shelves in America, the PS5 is really not selling that well in its home country of Japan. That's very interesting to me, because if you looked back 10 years ago, 15 years ago, it was sort of the inverse. The Xbox could not sell in Japan. They were not willing to adopt that. Now, Xbox is selling pretty well. PlayStation is the one that's getting the cold shoulder. Xbox has got Dragon Quest XI, Yakuza Like a Dragon, these big, hot Japanese RPG titles coming. And yes, the PlayStation gets them too, but they're no longer the big exclusive unit to get that stuff anymore. Sony isn't really sure who they want to be or what they're doing, and Digital Trends even put out this article, can't find a PS5? Xbox Series X is the better long-term choice anyway. And you know, even though I'm not particularly interested in getting the Xbox Series X right now, I have to agree, just the backwards compatibility alone is a huge boon. There are, you know, as a gamer, I'm sure you can echo this too. There are a billion games to the PS4 I have not gotten to yet, billion games to the Xbox One I've not gotten to yet. I have a full-time job. I go to school. I have shit to do. I can't just sit and play video games all day. I will probably never play all the games that exist, but invariably at some point, even though the new hotness is coming out, I'm going to want to go back, play those PS4 games, Xbox One, whatever. If I get the PS5 and I'm not fully backwards compatible, that's going to be a problem. I think they really, Sony, and Sony's making all these weird decisions, they really disregard, to their detriment, the way that gamers feel about their old retro games. There's a reason we emulate all this shit, and we don't have to. Piracy exists. Yes, piracy will always, people always want to steal, but piracy exists so big in the game industry because there's not just a simple way for us to acquire and play a lot of these old video games of yesteryear. Now, I know licensing issues come into play here. You know, you get the remaster of so-and-so and the music's all fucked up. I hate that, by the way. But there's a reason emulators are typically the best way to play old games, because we just want to play them like we had them before, you stupid fucks. And so if you are getting the PS5, it really doesn't fare much better. I pulled up this article from Wired of the best PS5 exclusives out now, and you know what? Yeah, you got Demon's Souls. You got the Demon's Souls remake. It does look pretty dope, but I played Demon's Souls back on the PS3. You're not bringing me anything new there. You got the Pathless. I've literally never heard of that. Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales. Cool, but plays on my PS4 and my Xbox One. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. You know what? I got no shade to throw on the Ratchet and Clank series. It's a cool series. That's probably a pretty good game. Bugsnax. Shout out to Bugsnax. Astra. Okay, Astra's Playroom. Wow. That's what we got. That's it. Also, the new Ratchet and Clank. It's not even out yet. This is coming. It's not out, but one day it'll be there. One day, maybe the PS5 will be worth buying. So finally, you come back to this Express UK article. PS5 and Xbox Series X stock shortages continue as experts back the Nintendo Switch to be the hottest selling console in 2021. Reason for that being, of course, the Nintendo Switch is an established brand. It's an interesting brand. I like my Switch. I love Ring Fit. Ring Fit is the game that, you know what? It's the game that made me the person I am today. I've got nothing but amazing things to say about Ring Fit. When the gyms closed and this whole, you know, coronavirus thing started up, I thought my life, my new life was going to be in shambles. Instead, I picked up a copy of Ring Fit Adventure and I realized you can do it at home. It's the best workout. Listen, honestly, if you don't have Ring Fit, go out, fuck every other new game except for Yakuza Like a Dragon. Fuck all this shit. Go get Ring Fit. Improve your life tenfold. I swear to God. I swear to God. So this may just be the year. Another amazing year for the Nintendo Switch. I can absolutely believe that. It's got a great backlog to play right now. These console makers, the Xbox One came out in 2013. We are almost a decade into this generation, and yet it still feels like we haven't fully received what these consoles can do. We've gotten to the point in game development where the consoles are so powerful, you're struggling to find new ways to innovate. This is not the jump from the Super Nintendo to the Nintendo 64. We didn't just get double the bits, you know? We're creating consoles that do essentially the same thing and trying to justify just giving them a little more power. I don't like the way the game industry is going. I don't care for the way we're pushing this out. The Xbox Series X is not really a brand new console. The PlayStation 5 barely qualifies itself. Is there a reason right now to spend your money? I'm just going to say no, because I can go out and get Yakuza Like a Dragon on my Xbox One. You can get Yakuza Like a Dragon on your Xbox One shiny new Series X. And yes, it will load a little bit faster. I will give you that. But we're both going to play through exactly the same game. If I sit here and tell you that we're going to play exactly the same game from my old console to your new console, what value did you actually receive? Anyway, guys, if you found your way over here, thanks for checking out the video. I really appreciate that. If you look at me and say, damn, you look familiar, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And yeah, no, it's let me know what you think. You know, do you feel the same way? Do you not like the way the AAA game industry is going, or are you on board? Are you jazzed about this? Do you already have or want your Xbox Series X, your PlayStation 5? I wish as gamers we would stick it to these developers more. I wish as gamers to these companies more and just say, you know what? No, our wallets are closed. We're done. Start giving us more real value. Stop making the games we don't want to play and give us what we do want, and then we're going to start purchasing again. That's not going to happen. That's not the way the game industry works. That's not the way our gaming ecosystem works. But regardless, that's my my idealized version. So hey, thanks for checking out the video. Have a great rest of your day, guys. And that doesn't sound right. That doesn't sound right. You know what? We're out of here. I'll see you guys later.